had a nice, long, and productive day working with Juan. Always a productive day working with Juan. We focused on developing new air prune box locations in our neighbor's landscape. So I'm going to take a look this evening at some that have been seeded out, think about some mulch for them, and think about what the next steps are. So I thought I would give a little update kind of midway in the process of getting air prune boxes set up for the 2024 season. So right now I'm on the north side of the nice large 14 by 50 foot high tunnel in our neighbor's spot. Lots of plastic to look at to start the video, oh well. And here's our beautiful little pond that Ian and I dug a ways back. And here are some of the air prune boxes. We actually increased the total number we're working with quite a bit this year. There are 2 boxes here I talked about in the fall. I'll link to that video here where there's a trial underway of Ashworth, Bur Oak, and another sort of white oak that were fall planted. A lot of people asked, hey, air prune boxes, can you plant your seeds in the fall and have them sprout over winter? I don't know, so we're trying. So these have been planted, set in motion. There's a bunch of hay that was flaked around them for the winter so the coldest air didn't slide under. It's been a mild winter, so maybe not an intense test, but definitely a test nonetheless. And we'll see what emerges from this box and this box over here. That's our fall experiment. We'll certainly share notes as that unfolds. And then we've got a few different boxes here to chat about for a moment. First of all, if you're completely new to the idea of the air prune boxes, I will link here to a video that talks about the build of these. Very, very short synopsis is basically beds that have an air break between the bottom and the roots of the plant. So as the plants grow down, they hit an air barrier. It helps cauterize and prune the roots, air prune bed, and gives you a more compact and fibrous root system. Amazing for taprooted trees. Watch some other videos of ours on air prune. You can search for those videos if you want more details. These beds have been planted out very recently. In the root cellar, we had Siberian peach seed from our wonderful friend Eric at Black Creek Farm and Nursery. Check him out. Fantastic nursery. You're not going to see any plants coming up right now, and that's for the best, and that's what I would hope for, because we want them to stay under there. But lots of sprouted peaches and chestnuts in the root cellar, so they've been all planted out. And let's see, a little bit of a lift. There's some named cultivar chestnut in there, some European hazel on that end, Siberian peach right here. We've got a cold snap coming in, actually more like seasonably average weather returning. We had a ridiculous warm spell. It was an awesome moment for us to be able to send pretty much all of the orders from warm weather states. We have a few left there, but shipping wise, we're going to pause for this whole week and focus on in-house work, propagation work, kind of catching up, cleaning up, and get back to finishing cold weather next week. Anyway, I digress. I mentioned the cold because what I want to do this evening is actually take some crates of finished compost from our chicken composting system and sift it through the mesh caps over the beds that have been planted out to chestnut and peaches. So it creates a mulch layer out of compost, but also a dark mulch layer, so if there is sunlight, it'll absorb some heat. And with the 1/2-inch hardware cloth, that'll be an easy way to sift it through and get to play around with our new to us, used electric car, which we will be charging soon enough from that whole array over there I talked about in a previous video. We're not quite there yet, still have to make time for the wiring, but pretty neat to think that we're not too far from having another farm vehicle, but one that runs entirely off of solar recharge. This poor car was leased from someone up in Rochester, New York. Nice and clean for a while. We broke it in and it's already filthy. But anyway, let me get some compost moved over. These crates can be not dumped entirely, but piece by piece dumped on top of the 1/2-inch hardware cloth caps and then sifted through by hand. So it creates a really nice high quality compost filter. So I'm going to go through and cover each of these. There's room for more material to go in. That'll help these beds hopefully survive a cold snap. You can see there's flaked hay all around them, which I'm going to get up against the boxes as well, just to minimize the temperature swing. That came from a round bale right over here. So Juan and I worked on picking apart this bale and delivering it to the area. Maybe we'll need more, but there's a bunch there cached. But for now, we're just gonna put it up against the boxes and mulch the tops. I can't exactly film the process of dumping and sifting, but you get the idea. I can dump some on top, work it back and forth. The biggest chippy bits can go on another bed or just simply in between. This will all be helping to develop better raised beds in the future, and a really nice sifted compost will go into the box down below. It looks sloppy at first, but we can always scrape the top off. I might leave some of this and put hay on top to actually help insulate a bit more through this cold snap coming. But you can get the idea. A quarter or half inch really is a nice filter. I kind of bounce it around, and these chips could be nice to fill the bottom of another air prune box. And down below has a beautifully sifted mulch layer of just straight dark compost with a little bit of wood chip in it. That should help quite a bit. I don't want to put a ton of hay on there because I don't want to suppress the seedlings from coming up, but we might do another round or two. But this is enough to really help push things along in the direction of being protected. All right, looks a little messy, but it is prepped for a colder time. We can bring some more hay over, but each bed has got a deeper layer. There are no seedlings popping up. The question will remain, how do the two boxes with different white oak family members work with fall planting? How do these boxes work with a mix of hazelnut, Siberian peach, chestnut? Similar picture, different varietals of peach and chestnut, different varieties in bands there. So we'll come back to that in the weeks to come as that unfolds. Got a bed here. If I have other stuff that sprouts, I can plant them in there, mulch and protect with the hay, and get a cap on them. I want to take a look at the new frontier for this season, which is a really beautiful air prune layout up on that knoll. Everything's dormant, so it's hard to get a sense of how nice it will be. But boy, oh boy, I love what this scene is up to. So we got the air prune boxes to the north of the pond there. The pond itself all planted out with an amazing wide range of perennial wonders that are aquatic in their nature. And then coming up onto this knoll, there's a couple layers of design at play here, which I want to explain, not in great detail, but just to give the idea of. This is the subsoil that came out of the pond that creates this little hill or this knoll in the landscape. Not very fertile. And so what we're going to do is plant out or set up all these air prune boxes to grow for a season, which will allow us to deposit an immense amount of compost up here and then plant this out in the future. There's kind of an amphitheater vibe. I'll take a wandering tour through there and show you. But a crescent moon or a layout of these different boxes that once they're harvested and the soil is deposited will make a beautiful planting band. Right now it's a little bit of a mess. I might take a moment or two and actually tidy this up. None of these have been planted yet, but there are, oh my gosh, there's 4 boxes up on that knoll. You can see there's hay queued up between each box. Earlier today, Juan and I went through and opened up this round bale here. I bought 2 of them from a local farmer. Thanks, John, you do awesome work with good quality round bales of hay. And we just basically dumped wheelbarrow loads or threw loads of the hay next to these boxes. So they're not planted, they're not capped, but it doesn't hurt to keep the soil from getting extremely cold. You can see where air would get underneath. So I'll take some time and get some hay around the bases of these. But there's 4 perched up on this top part, and then there's a whole lot. The hay actually hides it, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 12 or so in this arc through here. They'll all be smoothed out and planted out over time. I think we have enough seed to fill them. And today Juan and I built some more caps, so they're just staged here for the moment. But let me explain a little bit more of the idea, the vision for this space. So these boxes will all be growing. They'll be emptied in the fall. That soil will be used in order to plant out some absolutely beautiful backdrop plants for our neighbor Ian to look out his living room window and see. And in front will be this hand-dug pond. All this will make more sense over time, but basically we mixed compost that so our friend Chelsea came and helped us today to load the truck. We basically filled compost from the chickens' winter run and mixed it just a little bit with some of this clayey subsoil, and we'll keep digging this down. And so there'll be the main pond, and then the small pond up on the knoll. We'll use a solar panel to lift water from the pond into this micro pond, which will then reflect light onto these beds. I think once we actually are in the growing season, I will certainly make an update. Right now, right now I'm describing this beautiful scene, and you're probably looking at this like, dude, you got a pile of boxes and some wire laying around, and that's true. But that's what we're moving towards. You can see the start of the pond design here remains to be determined. Maybe Ian's machine will come in and do a little more work, I don't know, but it'll be roughly this size with a really nice arced walkway that lets us through the beds. I just fluffed up the hay a little to help it make more sense, but you get the sense here. Right now they're just buried in hay to get them through this cold snap. You can see the bed build in progress. Mix of clay from the pond digging, some compost from the chicken yard, some sticks, some perlite, and then it transitions into just straight compost from the chicken yard. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 beds up here. An astronomical amount of trees should be able to grow in this space this season. Hopefully be aesthetically pleasing once we get it up and running, and we'll share more updates when that unfolds. For now, it's a bunch of boxes with some hay fluffed around, with some snow dropping in the air. Let me know how any of that lands for you, if you've got questions, if it makes any sense or not. If you can share the vision that I've got, I think it'll be pretty exciting in your mind. But if it doesn't land at all, let me know what I can do to help clarify that. But imagine with me each of these boxes holding anywhere from 100 to 300 trees for the season, and then segueing this landscape into an incredibly fertile dual-banded crescent moon look that can be planted out to a nice diverse set of shrubs that are a backdrop to a micro pond under where I am. So lots of imaginings and visions underway here, and an interesting concept to see if we can have this perch up here, dense clay subsoil from the pond, have a solar panel lift the water up, go through a circuit through here and return to the pond. I think it opens up a phenomenally interesting potential for Minari and watercress production, which if we can crack the code on both of those, we will share notes for sure. Anyway, that's it for now. Time to go in and take a bath and go to sleep. Thanks for watching.